So it's May 20th and it's 4:04, and I'm calling the agenda meeting to order, and the flag salute will be led by Mr. Lynch.
Okay, we ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which
it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty
and
Justice.
justice for all.
Okay.
All right, good job, guys. That's a little hard to do, I know. Pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by posting on the bulletin board in the Beach Haven Municipal Building and mailing the same to the Beach Haven Times, the Asbury Park Press, and the Press of Atlantic City. Mr. Allen.
Here.
Mrs. Baumiller.
Here.
Mr. Lynch.
Here.
Mr. Maxwell.
Present.
Mayor Davis.
Here.
At this time, I will hand this public hearing portion over to the Borough Solicitor, Bruce Padula. Bruce, are you on the call?
They're all doing it individually from their.
Sure. This is the public hearing on the place-to-place liquor license expansion for Bert and Betty's. Liquor license 1503-33-004-005. Pursuant to ABC regulations, this is an informal hearing. So I'm going to turn it over to counsel for the applicant. I believe I saw him on the line, Mr. Silver.
Mr. Silver, if you're on the line, there you are. You can unmute yourself.
Yes, I am here. Do you have me?
Yes, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council people. This is an application of Bert and Betty's Inc. to expand its licensed premises into Oak Street. We're essentially asking for two separate types of relief. Firstly, we're asking for the borough to allow us to use the municipal roadway into which we're seeking to expand the license. And secondly, we're seeking permission to expand the license. So there are essentially two requests that are rolled into this: the use of the street because the borough owns it, and the expansion of the license. We filed our license application. We understand that there are a number of objectors that wish to be heard. If you'd like to proceed with the objectors, if you have questions for me, however you'd like to proceed, Mr. Padula will be fine.
Sure. I think it would work best that if you make your introductory statement, which you just did, and you may be done with that, and then give anyone who wants to make a comment a chance to respond. And then you could respond to those comments all at once at the end. Probably would be better than a back and forth. It would just keep it more orderly, especially under this electronic format. And then council can ask questions. And then the applicant can respond to council's questions, and then we'll see what position we're in at that time and how would be best to proceed. Does that seem acceptable, Scott?
I lost your audio. Could you repeat what you said?
Sure. I just said that I would give you a chance to make an opening statement if you wanted to make anything additional to what you said already. And then we will take public comment. And then once all the public comment is done, we'll give the applicant a chance to respond to all the public comment. And then council can talk and you can respond to council's comments. I just want to keep it a little more orderly since we're doing it electronically, and I expect a lot of comments.
That'll be fine. Let's go forward with the comments. After the comments, I will ask my client to address the council. So yeah, why don't we proceed as you proposed?
Okay. So Sherry, if you want to give those instructions again on who to raise their hand.
Did you want to hear from council first, or are you opening the floor?
That would be the mayor's prerogative if she prefers that council has a chance to speak first.
Okay.
I think I'd rather hear what people have to say first.
Okay. All right, so if any member of the public would like to be heard on this topic, you can raise your electronic hand and I will work my way through the list electronically and unmute you for the allowable time frame. We're going to allow the comments to 3 minutes, and then we will move to the next person with an electronic hand. So if you would like to be heard right now, please raise an electronic hand so I can call on you. Right now, I see no hands raised. At the bottom of the top of your screen under participants, you should have the ability to raise a hand if you'd like to speak to this matter. Okay. Michael Peeler, I'm going to call on you. If you could state your name and address for the record, please. Go ahead.
208 North Bay Avenue. Don't people see where the hand is? I don't like going first. But that being said, it's wonderful to see everybody's face. I miss everybody. I miss the town. I'm okay. Hopefully everybody else is okay. Concerning the request from the Tide Table Group, I think this, considering the pandemic we're in, this is also Whitey. Considering the pandemic that we're in and what our state and town and everybody's gone through, I think this is a reasonable request. It's on the master plan about consolidating that area as a sunset gathering place, a festive situation for the town in the future. I think it's acceptable for right now. I think it's a good idea. I think it'll help bring some normality for our guests and visitors and residents that are desperately seeking normal again. And it'll help the owners, their staff to hold on because everybody's struggling. I think it's an acceptable, reasonable request, and I think you should embrace it wholeheartedly. I normally like to go a lot further than 3 minutes, but that'll be it for now, and I appreciate it. Again, nice to see everybody.
To you, Michael. Thank you.
Nice to see you too, Michael.
All right, I have Bill Marino. I'm going to unmute you. If you could state your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, good afternoon. Hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Bill Marino, 501 Road.
I'm sorry, what was it?
501 Dock Road.
Okay.
Really think it's a great idea. Very supportive of it. It'll actually give people a place to go. In my opinion, to sit down and to relax, and to again enjoy the sunset and hopefully some good weather. But because if not, where is everybody going to end up? Everyone's going to be just kind of walking around, picking up takeout, etc., with nowhere to go. So it just really seems like a really nice idea, and I'm in support of it.
Okay,
Thank
thank you. Michael Fernicola, state your name and address for the record. Did we lose Michael?
Sometimes they forget to unmute themselves.
Oh, yes,
Michael?
you would be correct. I guess that's why you're the mayor. Mike Fernicola, 424 3rd Street. I also wanted to put my support behind this idea. We are constantly taking family trips down there to watch the sunset. It's been a nicer area since Bert and Betty's took it over. That road is always, crowded with double parking and that. I think it adds a much nicer feeling, kind of like a St. Gennaro's, marketplace there.
Thanks, Michael. Gregory Blair. State your name for the record. Name and address.
Yeah, my name is Gregory Blair. I'm 500 North Bay and 5th. And for the record, I just think this is an outstanding idea. I think that we have to consider this probably on various locations throughout Beach Haven for other restaurants as well. And I'm glad to see that somebody took the initiative to start it now. Summer's coming upon us quickly. And, you know, we do enjoy Beach Haven as a nice, friendly atmosphere and seeing other people and being able to go places. And I think not having something like this happen during this pandemic would be a mistake on the Beach Haven's part. So I am definitely for this. And again, I would love to see it expand beyond just the Bert and Betty's location, to look at other avenues that we could maybe combine outdoor seating and expand it.
Thank you. Steve Steiner. State your name and address.
Yes, hello. I know that the council, Steve Steiner, sorry, address, yes, 521 Amber Street in Beach Haven. I know the council received a letter from the Beach Haven Taxpayers Association that was, first of all, not vetted by the entire board. The entire board received that letter last night, and while there was a lot of emails that went back and forth about how different members of that board felt, it was not changed at all. And I just want to go on record that I feel the tone of the letter is just, first of all, very harsh. And I feel that we as a community, if for some reason the things mentioned in this letter, like safety and fire, I'm not an expert on either of those. And there are people that are on this call that are much more informed about those issues than I am. If they want to speak up and talk about the pros and cons of this plan vis-a-vis safety and fire and emergency calls, please do. But I say, as a community, if for some reason it is deemed that this plan as presented by these two restaurants it needs modification, then we should just find a solution. There is a solution to every problem. We know there is. And we as a community need to do everything we can to support absolutely everybody in this community to find a solution to get through this summer and this probably early fall as well. And if we don't do that, our community is going to suffer unbelievable damage. So I urge us that if we need to find a solution that modifies what they've asked for, or changes it, not just modifies, changes it, whatever it takes to satisfy everybody on this issue of whether or not to close that area, we need to find another solution if we're not able to close that area. So please, let's please remember that the letter that you got from the Beach Haven taxpayers was not actually from the board, because I'm on the board and I didn't get it until late last night.
Thank you.
Sorry, there's a problem because the Zoom has cut people off from trying to get into this meeting. It was limited to 100.
Thank you, Steve.
The meeting's limited to 100?
Meeting's limited to 100. There are people trying to get into this meeting. They can't get in.
Oh, that's terrible. That shouldn't be. You can, it's the contract you have with Zoom. This isn't a free meeting, is it? No.
No, we have a pro account. If we have to hold an additional hearing, Bruce, would we do that?
I think,
Yeah.
I know the Stockton account, you can get on 500 people or more.
Bruce, Is that something we would do, just hold an additional hearing then?
Yeah, I mean, we have everyone here now, so we should listen to everyone here now. And the point is that the applicant and council can hear them. So if we need to hold a second session, we can do that.
Okay, I have Pete Palladino. Go ahead, Pete, state your name and address for the record, please.
Hey everybody, I'm Pete Palladino, 53 Lafayette Drive, Manahawkin. So I just wanted to voice our support as a business right around the corner at Tucker's Tavern. You know, the reality is the summer's coming. All of us are going to be struggling to really make this happen, and so not all of us have an expansion, you know, outside. So for me to see this happen over there would be great. I want to be near a busy restaurant. I want to be near busy businesses. So if this helps them get through the summer, great. If this helps them succeed in their business in the long-term plan, we're totally for it. So I just want to let everybody know.
Thank you, Pete.
Thanks.
John and Nadia Albright, state your name and address for the record.
Hi, John and Nadia Albright, 108 East Nevada Avenue in Haven Beach, but we are the owners of Creperie de la Mer on 126 North Avenue. And we really support the idea. I mean, we're not involved with all the implications and legalities of it, but we do think it's a good idea under the circumstances. And back there, really beautiful. And I believe that that group really has good ideas and they do it right. And I think it would be good for the community. All of us as business owners are going to be struggling. I mean, we're not even going to be able to open till probably the end of June or July because of our situation. And we would like to see, you know, the business coming to Beach Haven so that people have a reason to be there and enjoy the summer in Beach Haven. And a lot of people ride and walk around their bikes and everything and walk, and that would be a nice place. Yes, everyone likes to go back there for sunset. So I definitely, we're behind the idea. That's it.
Thank you. Amy Webb, state your name and address for the record.
Sure, Amy Webb. We own several homes, some of which are rentals on 1006 North Beach Avenue in Beach Haven. And again, have been coming to Beach Haven for my entire life. And I think that all of these ideas are great. And I also support the idea of expanding it to all other streets. I see we have the owners of Tucker's, the end of Tucker Street there by the bay, where it's a dead end by the Pearl boat. There should be picnic tables all in there. There should be picnic tables in the entire parking lot in front of Parker's Garage and Bert and Betty's to not only allow for diners from those restaurants to dine there, but also have open seating so that day trippers who don't have a porch to go back to can go to that end of the street and bring their food from the Chegg or Buckaloo's or any other restaurant that's not back in that area. In addition, I think we should close off Seagull Lane in front of Bistro 14 to accommodate Ship On Brewery, also Bistro 14. So again, more diners can be outside and enjoying, you know, the atmosphere and supporting our restaurants. So hopefully the council will, you know, look for other areas and create more venues for people to go and enjoy our town.
Thank
Okay?
you.
You're welcome.
Barb Kona, state your name and address for the record.
Barb Kona, 100 Northwest Avenue.
Go ahead.
Okay. I just wanted to say that this is going to be a very busy summer season. As far as the real estate market is concerned, we've never had so many requests for the month of June, ever, as long as I can remember at least. We have people that are calling asking for monthly rentals for June, July, August. We're going to see a much busier June down here than we normally do. This past weekend, I witnessed people bringing takeout down to Bay on Center Street and people are sitting inside the back of their cars, edge, so forth. People are sitting on the ground too, eating takeout. So to have a designated area outside of any restaurant, I think that the town needs to help every single business owner, no matter where they are in Beach Haven, to bend over backwards to make it work for that business this summer. This situation, do or die for a lot of businesses, and we need to give them and in any way that we can. Of course, safety is always an up concern. I actually think the road would make the area safer, in my opinion, as someone who lives right around the corner. So I'm in favor of it, and I'm in favor of supporting every one of these businesses. Like we can make it work. Solution. Let's help everybody.
Thank you, Barb.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to participate in the public comment portion of this hearing? Stephen Beninati?
Okay, hi. Thank you.
State your address, please.
212 Center Street. My wife and I are the owners of the Gables Inn and Restaurant. I also fully support the initiative. I would like to say for the record that all of the businesses in the hospitality industry, especially those that are serving people with tables, do need to share in the concept. So if we're taking away a public street or a state mandated street at this particular location or any location, I think I consider doing that for every restaurant business owner that may have a need for additional seating. The understanding is that the consideration is going to be for outdoor seating to be maximized. And of course, we have to take into account whatever the state regulations are going to be to operate when we do operate, and hopefully that will be soon. We all need space. So whether you have a location at the end of a street, Dock Road, or whether it's a location at Tucker's or in front of our location on Center Street, I would like to have the council consider taking a part of the street, and whether we block it off or you block it off, we would like to put tables outside just like everyone else. And everyone seems to be in complete harmony about the idea that outdoor seating, additional seating would benefit everyone. So I just wanted to into everyone's thought process.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to participate right now? Jen Tomlinson, state your name and address for the record.
Jen Tomlinson, 306 South Bay Ave, Beach Haven. Just following up on what the past speaker just said. As far as taxpayers, will we hear, like, besides just a waiver, if it is a public street, as far as insurance and how injuries and things like that won't come back on the taxpayers of the town? And in looking at other places, like as far as the...
Where's Mark?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Go ahead, Jen.
Oh, and also, is this involving, I'm sorry for not knowing the details, but is this involving any parking spots? Because as in talking about multiple places, 2 months ago, we were putting, it was approved to put, and I know it was put on hold for now, but put on the taxpayers to, purchase trolleys because we didn't have enough parking. And I'm just wondering how many parking spaces, if we're having all these people come into town. I'm just wondering the other side of 2 months ago, it was a meeting regarding not enough parking. I'm just wondering both sides if we could hear.
Bruce, should you have Scott Silver answer that about how many parking spaces will be lost, or?
Well, I think Scott's going to respond
At the end.
So let's get all the comments in and then.
Okay, anything else, Jen, before we move on?
No, thank you. No, just the insurance and the parking.
Mr. Bowman, mute yourself, please. Thanks,
No,
Jen.
thanks.
Corey Higgins, state your address for the record. Corey Higgins. You there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead. State your name and address.
Corey Higgins, 22 Cedar Street in Manahawkin. One of the jetty owners, Jeremy, other jetty owner here with me. We just wanted to make a quick statement that we are fully supportive of this, and any way that jetty could be involved, or the Jetty Rock Foundation, this would be great if it could go down, anything to help promote, island business this summer, and we're all in to get involved and help along the way.
Thank you, Corey. Anyone else would like to participate in the public comment portion? Mr. Bullman? Hold on a second. Let me get you unmuted here.
Oh, why don't you raise your hand?
Okay.
Go ahead, Mr. Bullman, state your name and address.
Joe Bullman, 416 Dock Road.
Yes.
I'm kind of on both sides of this issue. I think the bigger issue is that, we're at a stage now in the state and the country where, people want to reopen. They want to get their lives back. And we're being obstructed by the governor and other people in charge unfairly. I mean, we're at a stage now where today in New Jersey, you can go down the road to a bike shop in person and buy a bike, but you can't go into one of the shops in Beach Haven and buy a pair of shorts. I think that's very unfair. I think that they use this as a basis for that, these executive orders, which I think have no basis in law. I think they're unjust. And I think the mayor and council, really in the interest of protecting the people in Beach Haven, the business owners, the residents, and even the visitors to the town, really should make it clear that they're not going to enforce this executive order. These executive orders are ridiculous. You have people's businesses closed for no reason without any legitimate legal authority. People are losing their businesses, losing their livelihoods, and it's ridiculous. And the mayor and council should state today they're not going to enforce it. They're not going to send the cops over if somebody opens their shop or opens a bar or restaurant. They're not going to cite them. They're not going to prosecute them because there's no legal basis for this. And it's becoming more and more clear all across the state. Why is it you can buy a bike in person, but you can't buy a pair of shorts? It's absurd. There's nothing but a lot of unfair regulation and discrimination between business people and the public at large. The other thing is, with regard specifically to this application, what you want to do is now I guess these people feel like they're forced to engage in some kind of crazy gymnastics, like using the public street for their business. That's not the answer. The answer is to get these businesses open. Now, I noticed that at Parker's Garage, they just built a big deck on the back. Well, that could accommodate people there. There's no reason to go into the streets. Same thing, Bert and Betty's. They have a big deck. They have ample room in their own business premises to accommodate people. And I think that this is just, unfair use of public property, for private enterprise. I don't think that the business owners should be forced to do that. And I don't think that we should resort to that. I think it's all backwards. I think the city, the mayor and council should make it clear we're not going to enforce this stuff. This is illegitimate.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bullman.
Thank-
Christine Rooney, state your address for the record.
Christine Rooney, 125 East 6th Street, Ship Bottom, New Jersey, and I am the managing director of the Lighthouse International Film Festival. I just want to put my support to Bert and Betty's and to other businesses in the community. This is a difficult time, and I understand the sentiment of not wanting to use public property for private enterprise. But I think we're in the new age of COVID, as everyone has said. So I do hope that the council will look at requests and at the situation as right now a necessary benefit to the group. People are here, they're looking for things to do. We need to provide a safe environment for people to eat, dine, play, and have a good time on LBI. That's all.
Thank you, Christine. George Salazar, state your address, please.
Hi, folks. I'm here representing the Beach Haven Fire Company on Amber Street. I'd like to first start by saying that we are in full support of every business in Beach Haven, and we don't normally involve ourselves in politics. However, the question was raised about the safety aspect, and I would like to read the letter that I wrote to the borough regarding that. So it says, good evening. I'm writing to inform you of the potential issues that the Beach Haven Volunteer Fire Company has proposed expansion of Bert and Betty's. It is the position of the Beach Haven Volunteer Fire Company not to involve themselves with politics. Please accept this information as educational and representative of the opinion of Beach Haven Volunteer Fire Company on the subject of the proposed expansion. The elimination of the ability to approach that area from the south presents an issue to respond to any emergencies in that particular area. If there is an emergency, there will only be one way in and one way out. Unfortunately, the foreseeable problem with that is that everyone will be trying to exit that area from the same direction that we will be trying to enter, which is a matter of egress. In addition, the proposed plan will eliminate the additional side from both Bert and Betty's, as well as Parker Garage for structural fire suppression. This presents an issue due to Parker's and Bert and Betty's already having difficult access on all four sides for structural firefighting. Not to mention the layout of overhead power lines and utilities that also must be taken into consideration for any changes to our current pre-plans. When we have to draft the bay water or secure a hydrant for a water source, and we've done so before at these locations, it eliminates access to the scene on whatever road the hose is laying across. This is already problematic to accomplish with the limited space there. With the elimination of the additional road, it would be impossible for additional apparatus to be able to get there. The gasoline pumps at the marina next door have a unique need for us to be able to secure multiple sources of water. Again, with the elimination of the road, we would not be able to effectively secure many water sources that we would need and have the additional apparatus be able to access the area. Both fires in the area present the same concerns as the previous one. The other issue is the turning radius of our fire apparatus. It is already a problem for us in that area when we go there and there are no vehicles present. This is compounded significantly in the summer months when that parking lot and the dock is full. I did spend some time down there attempting to see if that could be mitigated in any way while not opposing this project, and the result was that I could not. It would be exponentially more difficult with the addition of traffic traveling in that area, both foot and vehicular. Nevertheless, we understand that everyone is doing what they can to try and adjust to the new normal during this pandemic. However, we feel that the addition would not serve the interest of public safety at large for the borough of Beach Haven. And likewise, the project would greatly hinder our ability to provide life safety and property protection in an effective manner in that area. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions or need clarification.
Thank you, George. Dan Mercurio, state your address for the record.
451 Center Street.
Go ahead.
I just have a couple concerns. I live right across the street from the Black Whale, and just watching their plan for takeout, there seems to be a lot of congestion already, and that's already a congested area. I watch people blow through my stop sign on the one side. A lot of people that go to the Whale in the summer drive past there, can't find a parking spot, and then use that loop around in between Bird and Betty's and Parker's to turn around right now. I just don't know where those people would go. I'm concerned about deliveries, where they would park. Right now the Whale gets deliveries in front of my house on the street. Some days I can't get out. I'm trying to get to work early in the morning. I just see it's going to add a lot of congestion. And I know they have like 12 to 15 spots on the other side of Bert and Betty's. I wonder if anything has been, considered to use those spots first before they take a township street. I know the Terrace Tavern tore down their whole storage area and put a bunch of rocks down to use that as an outdoor area. I just think that there's got to be a plan B that we look at before we just take over a town's property and cause a lot of traffic where there's already a lot of traffic where people go down there to watch the sunset, cars, bikes, people walking, kids on bikes. It's, it's something that I don't, I'm a little concerned about. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other member of the public? Michael Peeler again. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Michael.
Hi. Is this thought or idea not on the master plan? And I know it is. I've read it. I've seen it. About closing off this area, creating different traffic patterns. And if so, wasn't all the consideration, the fire chief, I believe, was saying, wasn't that addressed when this was considered?
I don't know if we
Make
have.
sure everyone has a chance to speak first before we get repeat individuals.
That'll be fine. I prefer that.
Yeah, just especially due to the format, I would like to try to avoid a conversation back and forth. This is really the opportunity for a hearing. So we appreciate the comments about the master plan. I know I've seen some communication about that as well. So it's a good, excellent point and well taken. It's just difficult to get everyone to respond. It's really for the governing body to listen to comments from the public rather than engage in a back and forth.
That's good. That's fair.
But I just wanted to make sure keep this as
Thank you.
clear as possible. Thanks.
Great. Thanks, Michael.
That's fair. Thank you.
Frank Mancino, state your address for the record.
Hi, my name is Frank Mancino, 1223 Barnegat Avenue, Ship Bottom, New Jersey. I'm just here to support the idea of allowing businesses to do what they need to do to survive this summer. I think, there's going to be a lot of reasons not to do a lot of things that in a normal market, normal time would be certainly acceptable for whatever reasons, safety concerns and insurance reasons and all the other reasons that you could have to not do something. But I think it's incumbent upon every town, especially in the shore when you have a 3 or 4 month window to make hay, that everyone do whatever they need, whatever they can do to help each other through this season. What we don't want is to come out on the other end of this with half our businesses out, gone, and then wondering how we're going to make up, the ratables and gee, what do we do now? And oh my God, how did this happen? And, I think we have an opportunity to address a lot of things coming up. And I just want to say, I hope that everyone has a clear sense of that as you make your decision. And that's my statement. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Frank. At this time, if there's any other members of the public that would like to comment on this application, please raise your hand. I know Morton, we have heard from you already, I believe. If you want to just hang on a second. Mr. Bullman, we have heard from you already. Hang on a second, please. Is there anyone on the call that has not spoken already that would like to speak? Bruce, are we gonna take repeats then?
Yeah, I was hoping I could talk to you off the record for a minute so we could discuss the procedure for those individuals who were trying to get in but who could not get in.
Okay, if everyone could just hold on just one moment.
Jeez.
Hey, what's going on?
I was unmuted. I don't know how I got unmuted. So,
You can mute yourself.
yeah, I don't know. I was unmuted. Now I'm unmuted. Now I'm muted.
Take your hand off. Very good. Why does he say that?
Okay.
Okay.
Are there any other folks that would like to speak that haven't spoken already?
Sure. Sorry, I had you on mute, so I missed what you said.
I'm just making sure there weren't any other people that wanted to comment that haven't spoken already. Right, and then, oh, we just had a hand go down. Okay, Jay Cranmer. Go ahead, Jay, state your address for the record.
509A Dock Road.
Go ahead.
I am all in favor of more competition in this community, and I certainly think that Parker's is a great restaurant and attracts people here. The more good restaurants we have, the more people will come to town and we'll all benefit. Well, I have some concerns about traffic and access. Question I have is that Bert and Betty's has a parking lot at the west side of their building, and it would make a very natural addition to the outside parking of the outside seating they already have. Has that been given consideration to be used to help their business?
Just continue with your comment, please.
That's my comment.
Okay, they're going, the representative for the applicant will be responding once we hear all the public comment. Thanks, Jay. Any other member of the public that would like to speak on the topic? Okay. Mr. Bullman?
Thank you. I don't want to repeat myself. I just want to echo what the what was said on behalf of the fire department. I think that the public safety concerns, you know, are very serious. I think they should be taken seriously by the council. The other thing is, I just think we should bear in mind this is a major invasion of public space with the public street for private enterprise. And I'm also concerned that once it starts, you know, it may become a permanent thing, which I don't think is appropriate. I don't think it's fair to the town. And I also think, as I said before, that there's ample room with the decking at the Parker's Garage and Bert and Betty's that people can be accommodated on their own premises. Thank you.
John Halperin, state your address for the record.
John Halbrin, 319 Fairview Avenue, Beach Haven. I'm president of the Beach Haven Taxpayers Association. We did send in a letter, and in our letter, we were trying to address the public safety issues with police, fire, and first aid squads in the area. We've been on record of being pro-business, in favor of commerce. We're more than willing to work with the businesses to come to a solution, but public safety is a concern of ours. We're in an environment right now under COVID-19 where there is public safety issues, and to mitigate those issues or escalate those issues through this type of initiative when the public safety, as mentioned by the fire department, is not being addressed. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Any other member of the public that would like to speak, if you could raise your hand, electronic hand. Morton Brandsburg.
Yeah, my name is Mort Brandsburg, and I'm at 44 Lighthouse Way in Loveladies. And for years, we've been going down to Beach Haven and enjoying the restaurants, enjoying the environment. These are clearly unprecedented times, and I think they require unprecedented flexibility on the part of everybody. This proposal, I'm fully supportive of. It is a win-win situation for everybody. It's great jobs, it's good for business, it's good for the community and people like me who like to come down to Beach Haven and enjoy ourselves. And for public safety, this is a proposal that seems to me to be promoting public safety. If we're serious about trying to open businesses and still have social distancing, then you need to have the space to have social distancing. And this proposal seems to benefit the public by providing a place where people can go out and be socially distant and still enjoy themselves. If you don't provide these kinds of facilities or alternatives, then people will congregate anyway, but probably not in as safe a way as they would under this proposal. So I'm fully in favor of it.
Thank you, Morton. Any other member of the public that would like to comment? Jen Tomlinson.
I just have a question not related to this. As far as taxpayers that can't get on and can't hear,
yes,
what should they be directed to do? What's going to happen for?
We're going to address that in a minute.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other member of the public on this call that would like to speak? Michael Peeler.
Yes, I just wanted to address Mr. Goldman's comment about his anti-government restrictions that we are living under. If he
Michael, do you have comments for the applicants?
Yes.
Applicants' attorney? Let's hear those.
We're in a pandemic. We're in uncharted area. None of us have ever had to experience this or be exposed to this. And everybody needs to be careful and try their level best to help each other and look out for each other and do the best we can so we can all come out the other end of this. These are difficult times for everybody, and we're all looking for normal. And if there's a problem with the fire department, I'm sure it could be worked out. I'm sure there's a solution for everything. But we need to help the businesses that really make a difference in town. And these are a couple that do. Thanks.
Thanks, Michael.
You're gonna have me do it.
Deb Whitcraft, state your address for the record.
Deb Whitcraft, 4528 Dock Road.
Okay, go ahead.
I had no intention of speaking. I would like very much for everyone to hear from our police chief. I'd like to have the first aid squad's letter read onto the record, the taxpayer's letter, emergency management position. You know, all of us want the business community to do well, but there are some serious public safety issues here that nobody seems to be addressing. I know our chief has looked at this. I know our state has. I know the fire company has, and I don't think we should minimize the seriousness of the public safety issues. And if Dock Road is closed off where it meets West Avenue, then West Avenue between Center Street and Dock Road is going to be an absolute pedestrian and vehicular nightmare. You already have trucks parked there to provide, you know, materials, food, etc., to parkers, but now you have two-way traffic, and the traffic heading south from Center Street encounters a dead end. So then what do? How do they back up when there's another lane of traffic going north and trucks in the street unloading product for a restaurant? Plus you have people who park at the Bayfront, who come to the Maritime Museum, who go to Poly Dock, who now are prevented from doing so because Dock Road is now filled with tables and diners. So these are my concerns. And I think we better hear from our police chief and emergency management, our first aid members. I think there are some serious issues that make this an impossibility. And, you know, that's just my thoughts on this. I live here.
Thank you, Deb.
That's it.
Thank you. Janine Kleber, state your address for the record.
Mute. I'm
Janine,
so bad at this.
I hear you. Go ahead. What's your address?
I have nothing but good wishes for our colleagues across the street.
Janine, can you state your address for the record, please?
129 Ocean Street and 525 2nd Street.
Go ahead.
Okay, am I on there?
Yep, you're good. Go ahead.
Thanks. We have absolutely no problem with our colleagues across the street flourishing and prospering. However, they have plenty of parking and they can do what they need to do there. Pay taxes on what they need to pay there. Other than that, I wish them well. I really do. I wish everybody well. It's a tough time. But thank you.
Thank you, Janine. William Burris, state your name for the record. Mr. Burris, were you going to speak?
How about now?
There you are. State your name for the record.
William Burris, 100 North West Avenue, Unit 7A.
Go ahead.
I spoke with all the neighbors on Dock Road. The first person I spoke with was Deb Whitcraft, who was 100% in favor of this application. And I have nothing further to say. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Any other members of the public who would like to participate? Bruce, did you want to hear from the chief of police at this time?
If the chief wants to make any comment, he can, but in terms of his statement, the council has a copy of his written comment that has also been provided to the applicant. Thus, that's part of the record, as well as the written statements from First Aid Squad and from so those are part of the record without having to be read in, and all those have been provided to the applicant as well.
Okay.
I don't have much else to say other than what's in my statement that you already have. But if you'd like me to go into details about anything, I can.
I would appreciate if you could just for transparency's sake, so the public can hear some of your concerns, just a very brief.
So to begin with, I spoke with Chief Kevin Schatz from the ABC. I was advised that there is no extension of premise into or across the street, public street. The issue with Parker's or Bert and Betty's, we lose an important access point to go down to around that parking lot. We've gotten a lot of calls over the years where we've arrived at, which used to be the catch. We've arrived there, and to find out that the event was happening on the other side of the building, we'd lose time. I believe it's a public safety hazard. We've responded down to the boat slips down on Dock Road many times for first aid calls, fires, the boat slips down there. One or two police cars and an ambulance get down there, that whole area will be cut off. You will not be able to get around that parking lot to turn back around to go back up Dock Road, or up 2nd Street if Dock Road is shut off. I did see the revised plan picture that went out by email at 1:30 this afternoon, and even that has pedestrians out in the roadway. I don't know that a fire truck would be able to get through that. I don't think it's safe. Other than that, you have my memo. So.
Yeah, okay. I just, I read it. We also have a letter from the First Aid Squad. Is anybody here that wants to just tell the public what the First Aid?
Thanks, Jim.
I mean, we did get letters from professional folks that, are responsible for the safety of this town. And I think that we have to take those into very serious consideration. And I just wondered if anybody was here. We heard from the Taxpayers Association. We heard from the police. We've heard from the fire company. We had a letter from the First Aid Squad. Is there anybody from the First Aid Squad that can summarize the letter?
I don't see anyone.
No. I mean, I know everybody in council got a copy. I mean, council has to make their decision based on a lot of factors.
Deb, did you want to respond to the mayor's request?
Am I unmuted? All I can do is read the letter from our First Aid Squad, unless you can do it. I mean, I'm a member of the Board of Trustees of the First Aid Squad, and I would like to have our First Aid Squad acknowledged by having their letter read. I'm the only person participating as a member of the First Aid Squad. So would you mind reading it onto the record?
Yeah, that'd be fine if you would do that, Deb.
All right, let me dig it up if Sherry doesn't have it right there.
I do have it. Bruce, do you want me to read it, or how would you like to proceed?
Legally, we don't need to read it because it's part of the record. It's been provided to the council, so it's going to be a basis for their decision.
Can I just read it for the sake of the other participants in this? Is that all right?
I mean, there's nothing that legally prevents that. Just in the interest of efficiency, I wanted to avoid a situation where everyone who submitted a letter now wants to read it for the meeting. But there's nothing that legally prohibits that.
Well, it's a short letter.
Yeah, I'd like to have it read myself, so.
Well, it's very short. Margaret from Polly's Dock also submitted a letter, about how the traffic change would impact her business. And, but the first aid letter says, to whom it may concern, it has been brought to our attention that there are 2 restaurants asking the Borough of Beach Haven to close off part of Dock Road. We, the members of the Beach Haven First Aid, feel that this would be a safety concern. The area of Dock Road on the bay is already congested with tourists, boaters, fishermen, etc. If this area is closed off, it would make what is already a difficult job even more difficult and time-consuming. If Dock Road is closed, that would leave 2nd Street, the only access. And if there's any blockage on 2nd Street, an emergency vehicle will have no way of getting to the bayfront. The past couple of years, we have had many emergency calls in that area, and response time is of the essence. With summer traffic and parking on 2nd Street and Dock Road closed, it would impede our response time and our ability to respond and exit the scene and get patients to the hospital in an expeditious manner. This is signed by Anthony Orzo, our president, and Jack Casella, our captain.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Deb.
Thank you.
See, Chuck.
Am I able to speak?
I'm sorry, who's that?
This is Margaret Damiani from Polly's Dock.
Just state your address for the record, please.
112 West Avenue.
Go
right
ahead,
next door.
Margaret. Go ahead,
Can you hear
Margaret.
me?
Yes.
So I am, completely upset that this is going on. If they close that road down, it will ruin my business. There's just no necessity for that. It'll block off all the public parking and access for patrons to come to my restaurant and just route them all into their restaurants. It'll destroy me. Let alone the emergency problems and the fire issues with having a dead-end street there. And they have plenty of room on the north side of their building to use their parking to set up outdoor seating. There's just not a necessity for this. And I don't feel that they should be allowed to do this at the detriment of my business so that they can have all the customers that they want.
Thank you, Margaret. Okay, if there are any other members of the public that would like to speak, please raise your hand. Chuck, hang on a second, Chuck, okay?
Steve Burris, that shows you what a blind boy is. I know.
I don't see any other hand raised, Bruce, besides Councilperson.
I just saw a hand.
Besides whom?
A councilperson, Chuck.
Oh, okay. All right, so we could close the public comment at this point then and let Councilman Maskell speak, and then we'll see what that's about. And then we'll discuss what we discussed about.
Okay, Chuck, do you have something to say?
Yes, I 2 points. I'm sorry that I have forgotten the name of the counsel for the applicant.
Scott Silver.
Don?
Scott Silver.
Dot. Okay.
Scott.
Okay.
Scott.
Scott. Thank you. Thank you.
I thought you were saying dot too. I was like, whoa. Scott.
Well, Johnny Cash said he was a boy named Sue, so I thought anything was possible. At any rate, my question, I think, should go to Scott, which is, I mean, if they're going to be using the borough's roadway, and the roadway is the property of the borough of Beach Haven, there is a liability issue, it seems to me. And are they going to be posting a bond for that liability, or is the borough going to be responsible for that?
Okay.
That was a question.
Thank you, Councilman Maskell. I think now we'll turn it over to Mr. Silver to respond to Councilman Maskell and any of the other comments that were made.
Shall I respond?
Yes.
should I go ahead and respond?
Yes.
Yes.
Councilman, thank you. The point is well taken. Are we okay?
Yes, sir.
Councilman, the point is well taken and it's appreciated. It would not be the borough's responsibility. This is not an unusual request, and let me draw by analogy to what goes on in Atlantic City, where the city allows boardwalk merchants, boardwalk licensed establishments to use the first ribbon of the boardwalk during the summer. As a condition for using that first ribbon of the boardwalk, the city requires that the merchant, and in this case, Bert and Betty's, would acquire at its expense insurance that names the borough as an additional insured that covers it for appropriate amounts of liability insurance and similar insurance. So no, it would not be primarily the responsibility of the borough, it would be the responsibility of Bert and Betty's if the borough granted them the right to use the street.
Okay, I'm familiar with additional insured, and I understand how that would work. As a follow-up.
At this point, would you like me to respond to the comments that we've had from some of the public comments?
Certainly. If that's okay with the mayor.
Yeah.
Do you want me to respond to the public comments at this point?
Do I want you to respond to the public comment? In what respect? Most of the comments were just comments. Bruce, could you give me some insight? I don't really know what.
Yeah, so when we originally talked about what the procedure would be today, it would be to allow the applicant to make an opening statement, and then to receive comment from the public, and then allow the applicant a chance to make a responsive statement, and then for council to engage with the applicant, and then have the applicant respond to council. So this
okay.
is his chance to address any of the issues that were raised by the public.
I unfortunately think that,
I think that they were just public comments. I don't think they were, I don't know.
Can I just say something? I think Mr. Silver's internet connection is extremely lagging and it's very hard to understand. I don't know if everyone else is having the same.
Yes.
It's extremely slow and hard to understand you. I don't know if you can link to a hotspot or something that has a little more power.
Sorry, may I speak as applicant?
Bruce, Melanie is asking to speak as applicant.
Yeah, she can do that.
Go ahead, Melanie, state your address.
(1321) East Mallard Drive, Manahawkin, New Jersey.
What I would like to do is...
Hold on, Scott.
Hey, Scott, your internet connection's pretty bad, so I'm just gonna try and make a statement here.
Go ahead, Melanie.
I would like to have Melanie speak.
I want to start by thanking the council for trying to help us with their order in Beach Haven. That was very kind of them. Sherry, I want to thank you for answering my 5 million questions with me. All my fellow business owners, thank you for your support today. I think that I often say that, you know, right now during COVID, you know, okay, so say Bert and Betty survives the virus, if Checkers doesn't, or Buckaloo's does not, what does that do to our community and our business? So right now, during this time of coronavirus, we need to bond together to make sure we all survive. Council, I'm assuming you all received my letter today with the plan we are proposing.
Yes.
Okay, so basically the application that Scott Silver has put in front of you is just a place-to-place application. It's just about the licensed area. It's not about crossing a street. It's really the only way to get this done for us with the ABC. The next step is you allowing us to use the street to create some additional tables for us. The plan that I sent today does have an emergency access lane. Over the past few days, we have received some objection letters and we listened to them, and that was the one that really resonated with us. Also, the Damiani's letter resonated with us. I apologize for not taking into consideration those business owners around us. We're all reacting, trying to survive this. So sometimes you forget those people, but I apologize for that. And the Maritime Museum and Polly's and the boats and all the other businesses around us do deserve the same access that we do. So the emergency access lane serves two purposes. It allows for the pedestrian walkway, which really was the plan the entire time. I can't just have tables with people not being able to go through the area. So the pedestrian walkway is really important for bicycles, people walking, and to allow people to move freely back and forth, and then also allow the emergency vehicles to get through the area. Our security 609 security, Troy's on this call. He is always there when we're open. I'm sure the chief will tell you that we take this very seriously. We've had a liquor license in Beach Haven for over 16 years. We've never had a violation. We've never had a fine. We're very cognizant of handoffs, people walking out of the building with open containers. We're very serious about these issues. So to the question, why didn't we use the parking lot to the north? This is one of those reasons. So if you take our parking lot to the north side, we have our garbage area, we have our loading area, we have our kitchen area, we have our main egress, and we also have our handicap parking spots. So that leaves a very small area to the west side of the property. For us, it makes more sense to keep our tables on the bottom floor contained to a certain area so that we're more easily able to have our security keep their eyes on it. When it's our steps that come from the upstairs to the downstairs will block the view of the tables on the north side. So it's really important for us to be able to stop pass-offs to minors and people walking down the street. And there's no way for us to really erect a giant fence on that side of the property. In addition, it would take quite a bit of work on our part to clear the area between the two spaces. There's some big trees, there's pilings that are in the ground. It would be a big expense for us to do that. So we felt that the area on the south side of the property was better to kind of keep it contained. Dock road safety, I understand. I spent my entire summer there last year kind of holding my, scared watching the pedestrians in the middle of the street with the two-way traffic and the parking. The idea that this is in the master plan makes complete sense after watching it. It's a beautiful pedestrian area. There's people coming down Dock Road on their bikes with their kids. There's two-way traffic and there's parking on the Parker side. There's a couple spots that are not marked. I don't honestly know if they're even parking, to tell you the truth, but it's a constant battle with people crossing the street. And this was happening long before we were there. This is not something we created. The boathouse and the catch were there before we were there. We want to see this emergency vehicle lane pedestrian area, which I think would be beautiful. It'll allow the people to walk freely in both directions. It would allow the emergency vehicles access from both directions. It would allow us, if we had trucks that were delivering, they could come through because our staff could, our deliveries come more during the day than they do in the evening. So our staff would be able to help the trucks get through and turn onto Northwest Avenue and make the deliveries to Parker's Garage through the kitchen door, which is on Northwest Avenue, not on Dock Road. We don't deliver on Dock Road. We deliver on Northwest Avenue. Northwest Avenue is a pretty big, wide street. There's plenty of room for turnaround. It would dead end into Bert and Betty's heading to the north, but you know, there are quite a few dead end streets in the borough. So I think people learn to navigate these eventually. Beyond the actual safety concerns, which I know are probably the most important part of this, Bert and Betty's, and we're not talking parkers here. I just want to be very clear. We're not trying to license parkers. We're trying to do a place-to-place transfer that involves Dock Road. We have 90 employees at peak time in the summer. We will never get to 50% occupancy, even if we were to use the parking spots on the north, the parking lot that we've already been approved for. We're gonna have to lay off a substantial amount of people. These are people that live in your community. 50% occupancy, we lay off 45 people. It's heartbreaking for us. I think that our track record for caring about the community and for doing what's right and for maintaining a clean and safe business speaks for itself. I don't think anyone would say otherwise. You know, I apologize to Dan Mercurio. I understand that our takeout plan for the whale is not ideal yet, but we are working on it. Again, this is something that we never anticipated. Another concern that I heard in letters that we are trying to do something that the governor doesn't want. We won't do anything until the governor lifts restrictions. I don't think Beach Haven would ever let us do anything until the governor lifts some of the restrictions on restaurants. A lot of what he is saying is actually leaning towards outside dining. So this is why we are asking for expanded seating on the outside of the building. I think most people are going to want to sit outside this summer. I think it makes you feel safer. I don't think you want to be inside a building where there's circulated air and you're maybe breathing someone else's air for a long period of time. I would like, I mean, I don't know what you're going to decide on today as far as the people that couldn't get in. I'm not sure that the fire chief had the ability to see the plan with the fire access. I'm not sure the first aid squad actually saw the plan that allowed for emergency vehicle access. I would hope that they would think that you know, we're actually trying to work with them and create a safer area would be important to them. Does anyone else have any questions that I can answer? I mean, the insurance part, sorry, they don't give me a checkbook for a reason. I don't really know. You know, we can do a bond, we can indemnify the borough. I'm sure there's a way that we can make sure the borough is not responsible for anything that happens in the area that we're serving.
I know Chief Markowski saw the the suggestion that you made this afternoon. I didn't know if you wanted to speak to that.
I'm happy to make it wider if, you know, if you need to see it go, you know, 16, 17 feet. I think that personally, I feel like cars going in two directions, cars parked on the side of the road and pedestrians are harder to move than just pedestrians, but I'm sure that we could maybe have a traffic expert look at the area and say, hey, this would work and this wouldn't work.
Go ahead, Jim.
I did see the revised plan with the 15-foot wide pedestrian emergency path. I still, you know, this is if an emergency is going on, this is going to take up time to try to move these things out of the way, move these people out of the way.
There's nothing that's going to be in there. There's going to be any cables. There'll only be people, and you have them anyway, right? I think.
Well, this is a roadway that we would be trying to go through. You're going to have servers out there. You're going to have people crossing.
No, you don't. We wouldn't have servers in that walkway. It would be just people walking or bikes.
Yeah, I think this is a much more dangerous plan than using the other side of the building. So.
Thank you.
I just want to end with, I mean, you read my letter. I'm not sure what's going to happen.
Melanie, I have a question.
Sure, Nancy.
Can you, yeah, how would you, if you did have the access to the road, how would you separate the customers from, you've got one restaurant with a liquor license and one restaurant without a liquor license? How would you separate the customer as far as that
Same
goes?
what we do now. I mean,
well, I mean, so anybody in the street would be coming to Bert and Betty's, not to Parker's, correct?
right. It's for Bert and Betty's.
So it wouldn't be for Parker's. Okay.
No, we're not trying to license Parker's.
Well, I initially Bill had said his concern was seating for Parker's. And so that was what made me think that, because he said there was no way to expand the seating at Parker's, although there are ways.
There really is no way. We do have some space on the sidewalk for maybe 4 or 5 tables. Sherry's aware of the reason that I did not submit those plans. As far as Parker's go, I did hear some people say we built a brand new deck. We built a deck that was already, we rebuilt a deck that was already there. But yeah, there's not really much space for us to do anything at Parker's. And we're still not going to meet 50% occupancy, even if we do use the sidewalk.
Okay, well, that just explains it. I guess because of Bill's comment, I was thinking you wanted the road more for Parker's than for Bert and Betty's.
Nope, we've only asked for Bert and Betty's.
Okay.
All right. Melanie, do you
Can
want who's that?
Did the fire department chief get a chance to take a look at the other drawing that was sent to us late this afternoon with the
I'm not
15
sure.
foot?
I mean, I just distributed it not long ago, so probably not. Bruce, did you want to discuss how we're going to proceed?
Oh, sure. Unless, does council want to address anything now or say anything further? Or Mayor, if you want to do that, or do you want to talk about the?
I would say, is anybody on council want to ask a question or make a comment? And then we do have to know how we're going to proceed.
Okay.
Anybody on council want to make a comment or ask a question?
I just want to make a comment.
Okay.
So I just want to, because some of the letters that we received did actually state, and from some of the, I think the first aid squad, was that they're assuming that this is for 2 restaurants, that you're combining Bert and Betty's and Parker's, which would maybe indicate that there could be commingling of the alcohol between Bert and Betty's and Parker's. So can we just clarify that this is for Bert and Betty's only, and that people from Parker's, customers from Parker's, will not be sitting in that area, that this would just be solely Bert and Betty's, a temporary situation, correct? I guess that's for Mr. Silver.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Yes, you are correct. The extension would purely be Bert and Betty's.
Thank you, Scott. Any other member of council?
Okay, let's go to the procedures then. Bruce.
I do not think it to be an open public meetings act violation to reach the capacity of 100 people. I've done some similar research, albeit not in the electronic context, but I don't believe that we have violated the Open Public Meetings Act. Notwithstanding, I would recommend that the governing body try to give everyone who wishes to speak the opportunity to do so. So I would like to allow the applicant time to comment on what I'm going to propose. And then obviously it's the discretion of the governing body how you want to proceed. But I would recommend that since we've heard comment now, we postpone the hearing to our next meeting, which is next week, and continue hearing the hearing, and we can upgrade the Zoom to make sure everyone can get in. And whoever did not get a chance to speak today would be able to get a chance to speak at next week's meeting. And then the council can make a decision at that time. Obviously, that pushes everything back a week, and I know people have to make plans for the summer. So there's a lot that goes into that. I'm just trying to be fair to all sides and propose a solution that takes all of that into consideration.
I think that's a good plan. Right now we have 98 people on as participants, so some people have dropped out, but I noticed it was lower than that, and then people came back in.
Nancy,
Yep.
I think it would be a good idea too to hear from the fire department as to what their thoughts are. They probably didn't get enough time today, but I would like to hear their comments
On the revised plan.
on the revised plan.
I agree, and I think that makes sense. We can get some more input on that. Is that, I mean, so as council, do we want to postpone passing a resolution and wait to the next meeting? What does the rest of council think? So,
You might want to have council comment and also ask the applicant's attorney or Ms. Magaziner as a spokesperson, whoever the
Right.
applicant wants to also comment on that.
right. What about the applicant, Melanie or Scott? Do you have any comments of waiting till next week?
I'm waiting for Bill to respond to my text, but
You want to take a minute? I don't want to rush you or put you on the spot. If you want to take a minute and talk to Bill.
Yeah, you could do that.
Yeah,
all right, give me 1 second, okay?
yeah, sure.
I'm actually waiting until next week, but I think I'd like to hear council's comments.
Okay.
And I'm
Does
sorry.
anybody, okay, so that's fine. So Melanie wants to hear council's comments.
And then
Is
we're
that-
moving forward or we're not?
She wants to decide after she hears council's comments.
I'm happy to wait until next week. I think that Chief Salazar should be given the opportunity to review the plans and the I'm not sure based on that letter that they reviewed them.
Yeah. I
So-
think if the council's not going to be taking a vote today and we're going to be continuing with the public hearing, then let's not have them make their decision yet, right, Bruce?
Yeah, there's a couple different topics on which the council could speak, and I think we've already discussed the substance of it where the council was able to respond, and they'll have another chance to do that. So if they want to comment right now only on whether to table this until next week, that would be in order. Or some other business that the council would like to consider. But I think those are the comments that would be appropriate at this time, whether or not to table this until next week. And if we want to do that technically under Robert's rules, we would need a motion and a second and then discuss the merits of tabling it.
You're asking a member of council to motion to table till May 28th at 4 o'clock, correct?
Correct.
Do I hear?
Is there a motion?
I'll motion.
I'll second. Okay, good.
Tom was my first. Who's my second?
Dan.
Dan?
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mrs. Baumiller?
Yes.
Mr. Lynch?
Yes.
Mr. Maskell?
Mr. Maskell, where are you?
Are you awake?
Give me a thumbs up, buddy.
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here.
Is
Are
that
you
a
saying
yes?
yes or no?
It's a yes.
All right. Mayor Davis?
Yes.
Okay, Bruce, anything to wrap this up?
So I think we should make that the first order of business after we come to order. And then we'll proceed with the rest of the meeting. And if we want to, I don't know if the applicant wants any final words, Scott or Melanie or Bill.
I have nothing further at this time. We'll speak further when we reconvene. Melanie, do you have anything further?
I just want to reiterate that I'm very thankful for the council and the record for answering my questions. It's been very helpful. And my fellow business owners, guys, really.
Thank you, Melanie.
Thanks. Thank you.
Mayor, your prerogative, as mayor, you get the last word.
I get the last word. I just want to thank everybody for sticking through this. And I guess we have a couple orders of other business we want to talk about, right?
Yes. So I have all matters listed under item consent agenda are considered to be routine for the municipal council and will be enacted by one motion in the form listed. Any items requiring expenditure supported by a certification of availability of funds and any item requiring discussion will be removed from the consent agenda and discussed separately. All consent agenda items will be reflected in full in the minutes. I have resolution 116, our budget amendment, and by law I have to read the budget amendment in full, so bear with me.
Yes.
Budget amendment 116, 2020. Whereas the local municipal budget for the year 2020 was approved on April 13th, 2020, whereas the public hearing on said budget has been held as advertised, and whereas it is desired to amend said approved budget, now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Borough of Beach Haven in the County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, that the following amendments to the approved budget of 2020 be made. From municipal revenues, section G, special items to general revenue anticipated with prior written consent of director DLGS. There from reserve for payment of debt from 0 to 180,000. Total general revenues from $12,990,693.32 to $13,170,693.32. Under general appropriations, municipal debt service excluded from caps, we're taking repayment of community disaster loan from $275,000 to $455,000, making the total general appropriations from $12,990,693.32 to $13,170,693.32. Be it further resolved that 3 certified copies of the resolution be filed forthwith with the Director of the Division of Local Government Services for approval. I also am presenting Resolution 117, 2020, granting additional leave time for non-contractual full-time employees, and Resolution 118, canceling tax payment. That's the consent agenda.
Right. Does anybody want to remove any of these for further discussion?
No.
Oh.
No.
Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda resolutions?
Motion to approve.
To second?
Second. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Allen.
Yes.
Thank you. Mrs. Baumiller.
Yes.
Mr. Lynch.
Yes.
Mr. Maskell.
Yes.
Mayor Davis.
Yes.
Public hearing was held on the municipal budget on May 11th, 2020 at 6 p.m. So at this time, I'm going to read the adoption statement and we'll take a roll call. Be it resolved by the council members of the Borough of Beach Haven, County of Ocean, that the budget herein before set forth is hereby adopted and shall constitute an appropriation for the purposes stated of the sums therein set forth as appropriations and an authorization of the amount of $7,881,840.62 for municipal purposes.
That's my phone. I'm sorry.
Put it on mute. You can mute yourself.
$768,765.22 for the minimum library tax. At this time, we'll take a roll call vote. Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mrs. Baumiller?
Yes.
Mr. Lynch?
Yes.
Mr. Maskell?
Yes.
Mayor Davis?
Yes.
Thank you. And real briefly, I would like to have a general discussion for the application by the Lighthouse Film Festival. I know I have Christine Rooney on the call. I'm going to unmute you and you can explain to the council what you're requesting. Go ahead, Christine.
Hi, I'm Christine Rooney with the Lighthouse International Film Festival, and also on this call is Amir Bogan, who is our director of the film festival, Natalie Caracato, who is a Long Beach Island resident as well, and she is our outreach coordinator, and Hope Gardner, who is our administrative and sponsorship manager. So the Lighthouse International Film Festival for the last 12 years has just brought in an amazing number of films to Long Beach Island, and we have been a very successful event. We are hoping that we were going to be able to screen this year because everything's different. This is the time of COVID, and we are going to be the first film festival in the country featuring independent films from around the world in a drive-in format. This is an exciting new adventure. Drive-ins are going to, which we actually lobbied the governor for with the help of Diane Gove and Mayor Nancy Davis to allow drive-ins. Drive-ins are COVID friendly. We have agreed that we would only place cars 6 feet apart. We would sell tickets only online. There is no food, no concession. So everyone that comes would be asked to sign a COVID conduct, kind of a conduct form that says, you know, they'll stay in their cars, be considerate, wear a mask. So we've taken every precaution to protect the community and our volunteers and our staff. So that being said, I wanted to put that out very clearly because I know that that is everyone's priority, is the safety of the community. I'm also asking to use Bay Village Park, which is, I know, a public park and used for many events. And secondarily, but after looking at it less favorably, Taylor Park. We are very excited this year to be the only drive-in film festival in the country. We are looking to shine the light on our community as a place where people come to play, to dine, to be entertained, but also to know that we're more than a day at the beach. We are a cultural arts community. We bring, and part of the film festival is we bring wonderful films from around the world, including films that have won Oscars, been nominated for Oscars and other awards. So I'm hoping the council will let us use Bay Village for this purpose. Roger Lewis is on the call, and he is from Premier Outdoor Movie Productions. We have hired only the best people to help us to organize this, set up the screens carefully. We have insurance. We also are very clear, we understand that the concern for parking, but as everyone knows, there are two exits. There's an entrance and an exit out of the parking lot. We will not be, the parking lot holds 200 cars, obviously, but we will not be parking 200 cars in there. We're not looking at more than 90 or 95 cars, which and parked every other space. So on a busy day, the parking lot there is always packed. So I queried a few of our shopkeepers to see how parking there at 7 o'clock, how that would be handled. And most of them, and mind you, I didn't query everyone, most of the result was very positive. We're looking to bring people are coming to the shore, and it's our job to provide someplace safe for them to go, and entertainment where they can be with their family, with their date, with their friend, and an opportunity to really enjoy going retro. How much more fun is it than an outdoor movie? So we've taken seriously the concern about traffic. We've asked Roger Lewis to come down. I know that when the Corvette show comes, they always put a sign out that says, please don't park here after 6 o'clock. You know, we would be willing to do that. This is a really great event. We have a long track record on LBI. This will be our 12th year of bringing not only filmmakers and press, but tourists, and providing outstanding entertainment for the community. So I'm hoping that you will approve our request to use Bay Village Park.
Are you still,
you.
go ahead, sorry, Sherry.
I have a couple questions, Christine, before we proceed. So you're asking to use the Taylor Avenue parking lot from June 16th through June 20th, correct?
Well, the 15th, we would have to do a setup day. There's a lot involved in this. So the 15th is the setup day. The actual event is the 16th through the 20th. And we would like the opportunity to reserve the 21st as a rain date. It is an outdoor movie.
And then is it correct that you're also simultaneously asking to use Walsh Field with a screen for another 100 cars for the exact same dates?
We are considering Walsh Field, and it is really, after looking at it, it is less desirable for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's very swampy. Number two, it's only one small way in or out. So that's of concern to us, but if the board, so that's our concern there.
So you weren't trying to do both of these at the same time. You're doing one or the other?
We would like to do both, but we would, if we only had a choice of one, our first choice is Bay Village.
Okay, because I definitely have concerns with running them both at the same time simultaneously for 5 days in a row. But if we go back to Taylor Avenue, there is 140 spaces that all face that movie screen direction. So you probably won't be able to get 95 cars in every other space. You're gonna run out of space.
Well, the space that we talked to, you know, we were very instrumental in lobbying with the help of Diane Gove, the governor, to release the ban on outdoor movie theaters and drive-ins. And the actual rule is 6 feet apart. So depending how you fit people in, we would be able to do maybe 85, 90 cars. We are not looking to jam pack that, and the actual configuration is not all cars straight in front. Cars can be parked on the diagonal, on the side as well. So they were thinking that when we had Roger, we were looking at it, it would be like 8 by 90 cars. But like I said, we are not looking to pack the venue.
So you're not.
I have a question, please.
Mm-hmm.
Are you parking cars on Taylor Avenue Field?
No.
Okay.
No. On the parking lot.
Okay, that was the main question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The movie screen would be on Taylor Avenue Field, right? Or
Right.
the edge.
The movie screen would most likely take up a part of that, the green, but we remove it and erect it every day. We do not leave it there out overnight.
I have a question.
The Southern Ocean Chamber of Commerce spends a lot of money on making sure that that field is properly kept. And I know that they spent many thousands of dollars to do some reseeding there just last year. And so I think we just need to take their investment into consideration and make sure that, you know, we leave the field in as good shape as we find it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think Roger later on can kind of address that, but you know, we're not running trucks on that. We're not running projection equipment on there. It's really very little impact on the area. We're not putting out, you know, we're not putting cars or anything on there.
Great. Well,
I have another question for you, Christine. So you're not providing food and you're not providing concession. Are you also not going to be providing restroom? Because
No, we're going to provide restroom.
You are?
Oh yeah, we're going to provide porta potties. We've been investigating that. We will provide porta potties. We will be monitoring them. We will be making sure they are clean. Yes, we're going to
That's
provide
concerning to me that you could potentially have close to 400 people who are trying to social distance and be in their cars, then getting out and walking about and waiting in line to use a porta potty. I mean, how many porta potties do you think you'll have?
Well, we're not anticipating, you know, we're doing this you can basically say if you had 90 cars, most people were not anticipating, tickets are $40, $35, $40 a car. So, and these films, what's that?
They're gonna pack them in the trunk, right?
Well,
That's what we used to do.
Yeah,
That's
but
right.
these are also films these are independent films. We're not doing, this is a particular clientele. We have been running the film festival for 11 years. Our patrons are generally people who are older. They are generally people who are interested in the arts. They attend a lot of cultural events. These are people where our average patron is over 50.
So you're anticipating that you won't have 4 to a car?
We are not anticipating 4 to the car. We are not going to, because we do not want to have to verify our, staff to go in and protecting people. We are going to assume, which I think is a very easy assumption at this time. People aren't packing cars. People are not packing restaurants. People are not packing into things because we are still aware that people are social distancing. We are going to do a code of conduct. When you purchase a ticket, you will sign a code of conduct, and that code of conduct says that you will not get out of your car, that you will not sit outside your car. You will not, there will be people will not be allowed to sit outside in a pickup truck. The Lighthouse Film Festival, it's independent films.
But they're going to use the bathroom, right?
They are going to use the bathroom, and the way we've discussed this with a lot of other places that do kind of outdoor theaters, especially now, they're popping up all over the state. Every town. Check the new, Burlington just announced them. Monmouth County is doing them. So basically what the consensus is that you mark the spacing, and if we have to do 4 porta potties, we'll do 4 porta potties. You mark the spaces, people stand 6 feet apart. We have someone's attendant there who will monitor this. I will tell you that after talking to several people who are in the industry and do film it and are doing drive-ins around the country, but no one's doing an independent film festival like we're doing. Nobody's in a hurry to go into a porta potty these days.
Right.
Nobody's in a hurry to go to a public bathroom. We are certainly going to provide that convenience, but, and we're going to make it very safe, and we're going to line 6 feet apart. The movies are it's 2 hours long, so it's not like, you're stuck there for like a 9-hour event.
But this is a double feature going from 8 to 12:30, right?
No, but you buy your ticket per event, per movie.
Okay.
You can't buy a ticket for just stay the whole time. I mean, you could buy the second feature if you want, but you're going to be asked to exit.
And the second feature ends at 12:30 a.m., right?
The second feature will end closer to 12, but I figure by the time we move everything down and get things out, that we'll be there till 12:30.
Are you going to be utilizing off-duty police from Beach Haven Police to run your traffic control?
Well, I don't know. It's something that we would consider, but I'm not sure that it is necessary. It is one of the things that we have talked about and we have sort of strategized is that when people purchase their ticket, they will also be informed of how they are going to exit the theater. There is one way in and one way out. So when you don't normally have traffic there when people are coming in and out to park during the day.
Yes, there's traffic there.
Right, but do you have a policeman there?
No.
No. So people, it's pretty self-explanatory, but we will make it 10 times clearer that when you come in, there's going to be signs directing you out. When you purchase your ticket, you're going to get an email with your code of conduct. You'll get an email that tells you as a ticket holder how you're exiting, how you're entering, turning on and off your lights, all those rules and regulations to make you a considerate and a safe patron of a drive-in movie. Okay. That actually is pretty standard for all drive-ins, even though New Jersey only has one. Other states have many more. And it's pretty standard these days. It's not the bedlam that we remember as kids. Things are pretty strict now at drive-ins. And as I said, our clientele and the people that are drawn to independent films are not the same as when we were all teenagers. So we'd love to all relive those days, but now we're 50, 60, and 70. So that's not happening.
Okay, so just to make sure that we're all considering the same thing, what you're asking for right now is one location in the Taylor Avenue parking lot from June 15th to the 21st, if you need a rain date, for a maximum of about 90, 95 cars, correct?
Right.
Okay, so I would like to.
Taylor Avenue is not available. We would reconsider Walsh Field, but it is very much a secondary choice.
Right. Okay. So I would like the chief to talk about his thoughts on the ability and his ability to close down this parking area for that extended period of time.
I had one question that I think we talked about it before, but you didn't have an answer. Are you planning on closing that parking lot down during the day when you're not going to be using it?
Absolutely not.
Okay. How do we, when at 7 o'clock, when you want to start moving in and there are still cars parked in that parking lot, there's going to be an issue, especially if the people are out shopping and they're not there. If there's 100 spots and 85 of them are filled with cars, you're not going to be able to use that parking lot.
Well, when I know that in the past, when the Corvette show has been there, there's been a sign that has been put up there that says, please be aware from this time to this time, parking after 5 o'clock. It is also June 14th. It is also early June. It is my understanding that a lot of those shops that's not a busy time after 7 o'clock. And there is still parking in that area. You can still park at Schooner's Wharf underneath. There's parking along the area near the Wave Place. So that's not as though we are going to take up every available parking space there. But I know in the past that public notification was made to allow for people to know ahead of time that there's an event happening this evening or at this particular time, and the parking lot will not be available.
Yeah, that's never a problem for the Corvette show because it's a one-time event. It's a one-day event. You're looking at 5 or 6 days. The other question I had is the movie screen that you're going to have on the field. Are cars going to be able to drive down Delaware Avenue in front of that? I don't know how high that sits up off the ground, because there's a public street there. Delaware Avenue runs behind the park.
Runs behind the park.
Between the parking lot and the field, there's a street there.
Well, if we had to leave a space open for cars to go in and out, is that a public street?
It's a public street that travels between the parking lot and the grass area. I didn't know if a vehicle is going to be too high. Is it going to block your projection?
Well, during that time, from 8:30 to midnight, I'm going to have to say that that cars would not be entering that area, because it would be dangerous for everyone to have cars driving in and out of the projection area.
Yeah, I think you're going to have a little bit of a crowd control issue. I think that's something more we need to discuss.
Okay. Well, we are open to discussion. When they do other things there, do they block off? They allow cars to go back and forth, like at Chowderfest and that kind of thing? How do they work?
No, not during the event.
Right.
But there's 2 officers at 9th Street, 2 officers at Taylor, 2 officers at Delaware Avenue. That becomes a manpower issue for your event.
Right, and we're certainly not anywhere near the size of most of the events or many of the events that take place there. You know, we're talking 90 cars.
You're still using the same area that we need to shut off traffic to. I just want to make sure that we do it safely. So.
Oh, safety, that is one of the reasons why we lobbied the governor to do outdoor drive-ins, because we're very aware that people are going to be here this summer and they're going to be looking for things to do and places to go. And this provides people with a wonderful, safe opportunity to be to come together, to be part of the community, and a much needed night out. Everybody needs a night at the movies.
I think we might want to look at either using the field, because then we wouldn't have to worry about traffic,
Mhm.
Or if we did do this, maybe turning the whole thing around facing towards the bay. Then you don't have to worry about Delaware Avenue with cars driving between it.
You're talking about putting the screen up by the boat ramp, turn
Yeah.
it on the other way.
I'd have to let Roger address that. And I don't know if he got on. He was on for and then he didn't get on. I don't know.
He's there.
I'm here.
So I think I'd let Roger address that question. So I think, Roger, can you raise your hand or can you unmute him?
I'm unmuted. So yeah, so the real issue with screen setup, just so everybody understands, is that what they're trying to accomplish here is getting these events started at a normal time. So to get that done efficiently, we really do need the screen not facing in a westerly position. We need the screen so that the sun is actually setting behind it. If we can get that, then we can actually start on time and actually get everything completed on schedule.
The screen would be facing west then. No, facing east.
Facing east.
Correct. That's how we need to set the screen up to get everything started.
Well, then that would be perfect because that's just what it was saying. That would be setting the screen up towards the west end, so it's facing the east, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, there's some other factors that are involved with screen setup. The wind is one factor. So it's not, and I can't tell you, we use very high-end screens, so they can take a lot of wind. But generally, we like to have the wind perpendicular. So, but when we looked at these venues that Natalie showed us over the last couple of days, we saw that it's pretty much, they're pretty good for where they are. So, I think there's a lot of flexibility here for setting the screen up to make it work for where you're trying to keep the traffic open and having us set the screen up. Remember, this is mobile. So if we need to move the screen a little bit to make this work, I said that shouldn't be a problem. We can move it to try to get it to where you can still keep things open and the tethers that hold it up are not going to be a factor for traffic or any type of flow that you're trying to achieve.
Sherry, the fire chief just texted me to let me know that he's concerned about the use of Ocean Street Field for this because that's the landing zone if needed.
Okay, so I think what I'd like to do, Christine, after we wrap this up, myself and the chief and Roger and you, we can talk some more, but I think we should move on and hear from some more folks in the council and see if we have their blessing to begin to start to work logistics.
We also have a few people in the community who weighed in. Will they have an opportunity to share?
In a minute.
Okay.
I have emergency
This
management.
is Tom Lynch. My question is, I think you should consider, and I don't know how many we would answer this, but off-duty police, I think, are always a help.
Oh, yeah.
I'd rather be safe than sorry. It's a wonderful idea, and it's got some really good plans here, but something could go wrong. I'd like to have some off-duty police there, especially for traffic in and out and things like that. It shows a little bit more, than what we would normally have if we didn't have police. So I think that would be appropriate.
We can discuss.
You compared it to the Corvette show. Even for the Corvette show, we usually have police officers there to help them
Yep.
get out. If not, they back up. It's a very long backup.
I think when we talked, Chief, I said when we were talking about Walsh Field, I even said, I think we need a policeman. I think Natalie and I and Arva, all of us running around in orange shirts, it's not as impactful as when you have the police car parked there.
I do have emergency management with their hand raised. I'd like to hear from them. Go ahead.
Okay, Walsh Field is a helicopter landing zone for anybody that's critically injured that we would have to fly out. And I don't think that's a good feeling anyways, because I think cars, as you said earlier, it's kind of a swamp. When it rains, after the rain, it's wet for a long time. But if they have to land a helicopter in there, there's no way there's no way the fire company can clear that with the police department for a helicopter to land. Unfortunately, we don't want to see anybody have to get flown out, but it does happen, and we don't know what time of day or night that happens.
Yeah, it sounded like Christine was willing to then just look at the Taylor Avenue
Right.
parking option at this point. So I think that we're setting that Walshfield idea aside already.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Chuck, did you have a question?
Chuck does. Chief, I hate to bring this up again, but food trucks,
Now,
you know, they'll be an issue to the merchants that surround the field. And, you know, that's going to probably require some manpower to assure that.
Nobody's having food trucks.
absolutely not.
Well, I'm just making the point that you don't know when the food trucks are going to come and when they're not going to come.
They're not permitted.
Well, they're not allowed.
Okay, well, I made my point then.
Okay.
And I think one of the positive things about this is we've got a bunch of restaurants right in that area that could do takeout food, and it might be a big boost to their business.
We are definitely planning on encouraging. That is one of the reasons, well, it's one of many reasons why we don't do food trucks, but is that we look at this, and we have for the last 11 years, this will be our 12th year, we are every year an open the season event. We have advertised extensively in the past. We bring in filmmakers, we bring in a lot of tourists, we bring press. It's a really great event for our community. And this year, we understand there are limitations with that because, you know, people aren't traveling as much. And so, but we are still very enthusiastic supporters of our community and feel that this event really shines a spotlight on the film festival, but also on LBI and the community. And we are pushing all of our food, all of our merchandise to the local businesses. We don't sell food, we don't sell alcohol. We do sell t-shirts and that, but this year we're going to put that in local shops and encourage people to visit those places.
Guys, before we break, I think it's important, because I know everybody's been closed in, that you understand where we are with drive-ins right now. I mean, as a business right now, I'm probably doing 100 or so drive-ins. We're doing them in every community. So it's not like you're doing something new or you're reinventing the wheel. Everyone is doing this right now. The goal is to try to figure out the best way to do it for you. So if we could all keep that in mind, that this is a socially distanced, approved event, and that people are gonna go out, and that we need to find a way to do it responsibly, I think we can find a way to get through some of these other issues.
Thanks, Roger. I have another person's hand up that we can hear from, and then I need to hear from each member of council so we can figure out how we're going to proceed with this. Natalie, state your name and address for the record.
Natalie Caracato. I'm at 15 North 15th Street, Surf City. I am the community outreach coordinator for the Lighthouse International Film Festival. And I just wanted to impress upon you how much we are considering safety in every aspect of what we do. We normally run a huge many venues up and down the island with parties and filmmakers breakfasts and you know, lots of events going on. They're all canceled. We are trying to keep this as tight as possible, completely socially distanced. It's been the approved method, and we think that it's going to continue for quite a long time. We hired experts to take care of this for us and do it 100% right. We totally ticketless. Nobody has to touch anything. You curbside grab and go your dinner, and you bring it to the field and you watch a film. We're also finding that we participated in a conference the other night of a bunch of different drive-in theaters around the country and film festival people. And the ones that are currently operating drive-ins, people don't want to get out of the car and use the porta potty. You just don't. Just think of what you want to do. You don't want to do this. And maybe 1 out of 10 people on average, they said, are actually using the porta potty in the course of the film. you want to hold it in, you know? I mean, you don't want to have a car full of people. You want to, sorry. You don't want to have a car full of people. I'm not inviting anybody in my car. I mean, if they're not in my house, they're not in my car. I mean, hopefully I'll feel better about things a little bit later on, but we're talking a month from now, nobody's getting in my car.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to impress that upon you too. And we always, always, always want to promote LBI, and we really think that this would be a safe way for the businesses to participate. I think people are going to have to buy it. What else? You want to have your dinner in your car, you know, so you want to pick food up. You want to pick snacks up. So I think this will be a good thing all around.
Thank you, Natalie. Nancy, I just wanted to ask you real quick, do you want to hear from each member of council if they're in favor of this application, and if, you know, they're giving us permission to, Jim and I, to start to work with the event producers to put this on, or do you want to continue to hear from the public about it? Because I see some hands raised.
Well, I would like to hear from the public, but I also would like to hear from each member of council. I mean, I totally support this, but I'd like to hear, let's hear from the public. They can keep their comments short, and then we can go through the council and see what they think.
Okay, Hope Gardner, state your address for the record.
Hi, Sherry. 11 East 34th Street, Brant Beach.
Go ahead.
All right. As admin coordinator and sponsor coordinator, I'm going to go with on the other side of this with how we have partnered with a lot of the nonprofits on the island. The LBI Museum is one of our venues. The Long Beach Island Arts Foundation. We have partnered with the Whipcraft's Maritime Museum. And in this state of not being able to go indoors, this allows a lot of our members and moviegoers to partake in this. And a lot of the members of all the nonprofits that are on the island do participate in attending this film festival. We also partner with a lot of our profit businesses as far as dining. And in the past, we've had a lot of people stay at the motels and rent homes. And because we can't do that, it's really imperative that we kick off this season and maintain our 12th season on the island. And we will do whatever we have to maintain our safety and just go out and have some fun. We've all been cooped up, and I think, as Natalie stated and Christine, this is going to be a really neat retro thing. It'll bring back a lot of people to our past memories of drive-in theaters, and we will be doing all we can to maintain that safety and yet be able to bring in a lot of our partners at the same time. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Hope. Deb Whitcraft?
Yes. Can you hear me okay, Sherry?
Yes, you're good.
Yeah, I can speak firsthand to the Lighthouse International Film Festival, not only what it has done for Long Beach Island, but also for nonprofit organizations like my own. They have given films for our 90-plus attendees at our monthly presentations at Buckaloo's. And many people don't realize that the nonprofit organizations are also suffering. I mean, we talk about the businesses, the restaurants, the bars, but the nonprofit organizations like the Lighthouse International Film Festival, we are all hurting. And I can't express my support for them any greater than I am now. But I ask that council please give consideration to the request. And I know that Christine and her people there will work with our chief to make sure that everything is safe and run properly. They always have. So I'm just voicing my support of what they want to do at Taylor Avenue. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Deb. Kitty Snyder.
Hi, guys. Thanks for letting me speak. Just want to say that I always support the arts. I think it's a great idea. I know that there was a couple of concerns about two sites at the same time. And it seems to me that the one site at the field is a great idea. And we've been talking about bringing drive-ins to the town for a long time. It's great. It's a perfect way to social distance. I mean, literally a perfect way. And I think it would be a boost for the businesses at Bay Village that they're really going to need. I highly recommend getting your takeout from Bistro. And I'm all for it. Thanks. Bye.
Katie, I didn't get your address on the record, please, if you could put it on.
Sorry, 120 Berkeley, Beach Haven.
Thank you. All right, Don Caxtis, state your address for the record.
Don Caxtis, 16 Fifth Street, Beach Haven, New Jersey.
Thank
I just want to thank Christine for this creative approach. I mean, my wife, who is immune suppressed, and I are stuck in this house. This gives us a real opportunity to get out of the house, do something that's safe, not be concerned about being close to anybody else. We're not going to the restaurants. You know, we're not seeing our kids stay with us this summer. And I have fond memories of my wife and I in an outdoor movie theater. So I just commend Christine for doing this. And I would hope that, again, you know, the parks may be made available for other charitable fundraising organizations that might not be able to do it on their site and still do social distancing. So again, I'm sure Christine will work and make sure that this is safe for everybody. And I just want to thank her for doing this. Thank you very much. That's it.
It's a team effort, let me tell you. This is more complicated than we ever imagined.
Thanks, Don.
Right, Roger?
Michael Peeler,
Yeah, I think this
put your address on the record, please.
208 North Bay Avenue. I think this would say a lot about our community, how open we are to new things, and we embrace the arts. And I think it'd be wonderful for everybody. Like Don said, something safe for a change.
Thank
So,
you.
good luck. Be safe.
Anybody else from the audience?
Steve Beninati.
Hi, thank you. I fully support Christine, the entire group, and the Lighthouse International Film Festival. We've been proud supporters for literally 11 years through a variety of different events, catering, opening our Gables facility for fundraising parties, etc. There's really no downside here. And one of the things that to appreciate and agree with is that this is going to be a massive marketing opportunity. We will get press from all over the country. First of its kind. Murphy mentioned it last week during one of his press conferences that he had been solicited, provided an opportunity to do a drive-in festival. So sorry. Whatever we need to do to, even the dogs like the film festival, whatever we need to do to expedite the approval and move it forward, I would certainly embrace and encourage the community to do so.
Thank you. Right, I don't see any other members of the public, so I'd like to hear from council, please.
Anybody want to go first?
I don't have much to say, but I'm in favor. I think it's a wonderful idea. I think that working with Sherry, the EMS, and the police department, we can iron out any of the problems that need solutions. And I wish you well. I think it would be a great attraction for our community and for Long Beach Island.
Thanks, Chuck.
Dan? Tom, go ahead, Tom.
I think it's a very good idea. I think it's got a lot of possibilities to it. I also think that, as someone said about people bringing dinner there, it would help the restaurants maybe for people who are driving. to maybe stop over at a Buckaloo's or Parker's or wherever and be able to pick up something and take it over there. So I think it's got a twofold purpose to it. I think it's a good idea. Again, I think it has a lot of possibilities and I'd like to pursue it.
Thanks, Tom.
Amy?
Hi, Christine, I appreciate you're very ambitious and I appreciate everything that you're doing. I just have just a few questions and concerns. So there's going to be 5 movies in total, correct?
Well, no, actually, Jamie, the way it works, and actually the Lighthouse Film Festival is run by Amir. It's a large organization, so we have a lot of support and we have a lot of volunteers and a lot of staff. It's 5 nights of movies, and every night is 2 movies.
Okay.
You're going to be sold online ahead of time, but they will be purchased per car, per movie.
I understand that. So what type of movie, I've never been to the film festival, but I've heard great things about it each and every year. I'm just a little concerned that this June that we're facing is going to see an increase of people, primarily family people that are going to be walking around. They're going to be at Bay Village. So I'm not necessarily sure that are these types of movies going to be family-oriented movies or more movies that older individuals would like to see, like myself.
We are not a shock fest, so that I want to make very clear. We show films that are independent films. We are not a Disney film festival, but you have to remember that the parks are closed where this is. So the playgrounds are closed.
That's not in the application. I don't think that we can close the playgrounds. What I'm saying is that
COVID now.
Okay, but they're still going to be walking around at the sunset because the sun that's actually closest to the longest day of the year. So you're going to have the sun setting about 9 o'clock. So you're going to have children walking around with that big screen. So they're going to see things. So I'm concerned about that. I know that they probably won't be able to hear things. I'm assuming you're doing an audio through a channel or something.
Through an FM channel.
Right. So, but they are going to be able to see the screen. And there's actually a huge development down there at Taylor Ave. The townhouse is there. They will be able to see that. There's a lot of children there. So I think we have to be extra cautious on the type of, you're going to have to be like PG, if not less than that. So that's one of my concerns. My second concern is that we are going to be seeing an influx of people in June. And so I wouldn't be able, I'm not recommending giving you the entire parking lot. I would say maybe 50 spaces at the most. And again, I appreciate your ambition and I would like to do everything I can to support you. I just don't know at this time that we can give everything that you're requesting. And is it possible even to consider maybe doing this in September? Because then we would have a little bit less people around. Will be going into a shoulder season where the businesses would be feeling a little bit more comfortable and it would still be supporting everyone here. So I just wanted to kind of see if it was possible to maybe push it into September and limiting the spaces and also the rating of movies.
I definitely agree. Sensitivity would have to be towards what's being shown on the screen. You know, and that certainly is a concern. It's something that we will address and we will, if approved, we will talk about. Generally, independent film festivals are not PG films. I mean, I'll be right up front. This is not a PG film festival. This is people paying $30, $40 to go to a movie. So it won't be Frozen. 50 cars will not make economic sense for us. This is a very expensive endeavor. It is a highly technical. Roger is part of only one of a second company that we actually hired. So as much as I would like to say, sure, 50 cars is great, this is a very expensive endeavor. And we also do a lot of advertising and a lot of publicity. And we purchase these films.
Right. I just don't know the legality of showing something visual for, we can't keep the public away from the area. So I don't know legally if we can actually show anything that would be not allowed to see. So do we still have Bruce here? Maybe he can answer that. These are uncharted waters for me. I have no idea.
No, I'm still here. I've never had to research that. I don't know, so I don't want to say, but I'd be happy to look into it. I'd be doubtful that we could, without some type of ordinance, and I think that would be suspect. I'm sorry, I'm just kind of thinking out loud. I'd be doubtful we could restrict it in any way in terms of the content. But obviously the manner in which it's presented, which is what you're discussing now, you have regulation authority over.
The second showing starts at 10 o'clock at night. So I'm not thinking we're going to run into a lot of families being out at that time. As I said, we are sensitive to this, which is the other reason why we would want the whole parking space, the whole parking lot, because if we have 50 cars, we have no control over who's in the other cars. And that would make it very difficult for us to manage that. As far as moving to September, we've already contracted Roger, K2 Imaging. We've already contracted with the foundation and the Barnegat City Municipal Boat Dock. So picking up and moving to September, as well as, that's a different festival season. We're a new festival. The films we get are pre-released. So for us to do a festival after September, it doesn't really, we don't just show movies, it doesn't really fit into the formula. I guess is how I would say it. Like all the movies we'd show would be on the movie theaters then, or on pay-per-view. So it'd be very hard to have a pre-release movie screen film festival. No.
Any other questions for Christine? Amy, do you have any questions for Christine?
I don't have questions. I don't know. I'm just really concerned about this. I just don't think that it's the right time, less than a month away, to plan something that we've never done before in this time.
Nancy, what's your feeling on it?
Well, I support it. I think we have a lot of elderly people in town that would love to have something to do. I think it's fairly late at night. I think most young kids shouldn't be out that time of night. I still think school's in session. There might be more people down here. Usually that time in June's kind of dead. But with the way the world is right now, one doesn't know. But there's plenty of other things to do in Beach Haven. I'm very doubtful that Fantasy Island and Thundering Surf will be opening then. Again, it's a month away, so it's less than a month away, so I'm not sure, but I'm doubtful that the governor is going to allow the amusement parks and the things like Thundering Surf to be open in less than a month. I feel we need to do some different things. I think parents can be responsible if they have young kids, if they don't want to see this, they can't hear it. They can stay away for that period of time and give other people a chance to get out and do something. I really don't think the park is going to be all that crowded at that hour of night. And most teenage kids have already seen, they know more about sex than I do, to be perfectly truthful. So it's a different world today. But I totally support it. I think it's a great idea. I think it's worth a try. We're talking about a time of year that's not super busy, although it might be more busy, we don't know. I just think we need to do some different things. We have to think about the elderly people in the community that would like this. And I think it would bring some good business in to that area. For some of the restaurants, they could do some takeout meals for people. They're going to need that boost. They really are going to need that boost in business. So I'm 100%.
I don't see Dan on the call anymore, but I do have a consensus of council that they are in favor of us continuing to work with the organizers and
wait a second. Tom, put yourself on mute so we don't.
I got 3 different phones here. I'm trying to grab the other one.
Okay. Well,
That's why
But
I
every
have
time you do something, it flicks over to you, so.
Okay, so I do hear a consensus of council that we are going to work with the event organizers and try to work out the kinks. So Jim and I will continue to meet with them and make sure that we get everything in order, and I'll keep the council informed about each step that we take. Okay.
Could I say just one other thing?
Yeah.
I know, to Jamie, I know that Christine was concerned about this whole issue. We talked about it. That's one of the reasons she did not want to ask for Veterans Park, because she thought that was too open. And again, she thought down by the bay at that time of night, there would be less young kids around, particularly at Fantasy Island, and Thundering Surf aren't doing a big business. So I know she was aware of that and thought about it. And that was another reason Walshfield would have been a good spot. But I was concerned about the helicopter landing there and the muckiness. It's been really difficult to find anywhere on the island to do these sorts of things. We don't have a lot of land left.
Can I just ask a quick question of the mayor?
To me?
Yes.
Of course.
What is elderly?
Not me and not you.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's close this discussion and open the floor for public comment. I already have a couple hands up. Nancy, you want to open the floor?
I'm opening the floor for public comment. I feel like we've had a lot of comment already. Yes, open the floor. You got hands up. You call the people. I can see them too.
Go ahead, Kitty.
Hi, this is Chloe. I'm Kitty's daughter. My address is 120 Berkeley Avenue down here in Beach Haven, and I also live in Brooklyn, usually at 254 Henry Street. I just think that this is really wonderful for Beach Haven. It's really forward thinking, and living in New York City, something that so many people look forward to in the summer are the films that they play in all of the public parks. And I think this is a great thing to bring to Beach Haven. There's always children, roaming the parks and things like that. And this summer they probably won't be able to do that because they can't do a drive up. So this is just a really nice kind of concept. And I think those films are certainly not G-rated. And, it's kind of at the discretion of the folks in the parks to, walk by or just tell their kids not to look. So anyway.
Instead of masks, we'll put blinders on the kids.
Thank you, Chloe. Natalie, did you want to speak again?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I wanted to address two things. One is
Announce who you are so everyone can.
Natalie Caracato, 15 North 15th Street, Surf City. I am the community outreach coordinator for Lighthouse Film Festival. I'm also one of the programmers. So we have been screening films months, and that is why we can't really push things off, into the fall, and why we're pushing for June. But also, we are trying to be very sensitive of what we will show in our most open field. And, I'm not saying that everything's will be perfect, but we are conscious of that and are in discussion about it. So I just wanted to make sure that you knew that we were aware, and we already have those concerns and are addressing them. We will do the best we can.
Thank you. Is there any other member of the public that would like to speak? This is an open portion of the meeting. You can speak on any topic.
There's only 50 people left here.
40 now.
Oh, 40, okay.
And if you would like to speak, otherwise we will, go ahead, Deb Whitcraft.
Yeah, Sherry, 528 Dock Road, Beach Haven, New Jersey. I just want to reiterate that the Lighthouse International Film Festival does not serve just itself, but also other nonprofits, including the Maritime Museum, including the LBI Historical Association. And I really implore council to support this so that we can have yet, another means, not only to support the business community, the restaurants and all that, but other nonprofits like my own. So I'm just wholeheartedly in favor of this. Thank you.
Thanks, Deb.
Anybody else?
Comment?
That it?
I don't
So
see
should
any
should I
other
close the
hands.
floor?
Sure.
Close the floor to public comments, and now we have the last remarks of the council. Chuck, I see you. Do you want to make a remark?
Of course I do, Nancy. Are you sitting down?
Yeah, I am. What, am I going to fall down now?
First of all, I'd like to say that, you know, we really all need to find ways to help any and all of our borough businesses to survive this summer. That means being flexible, trying to be a little innovative, and I'm not going to say bend the rules, but you know, just go to whatever ends we can. We need to keep all these businesses in town, and it's going to be challenging, that's for sure. Last week, when the last meeting, I had been rushed to the hospital by our EMS group, and I thanked Deb Whitcraft, and I forgot to thank Beverly and Bill Tron for all the work that they do. So I'd like to also thank Bill and Bev for the great work that they're doing. And I was around during Sandy, and I can tell you the amount of work that they put in today makes a big difference in what happens when we have an emergency. So to Bill and Bev, thank you very much. That's it.
Thanks,
Chuck. Anybody else? Dan? Oh, Dan's not here. Jamie?
I'll just be real quick. This was a long one. I just wanted to just remind everyone that now that we're into phase 1 and Memorial Day weekend is upon us, that everyone really needs to kind of still do social distancing and remember that we have to keep everyone safe first. If we want to have a successful season, we have to follow the guidelines, or there's not going to be a successful season. So we have to do this slowly and very cautiously so we can have a very successful summer season. And I'll see everyone next week.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tom?
Been a long meeting. I just want to say I hope everybody stays safe. Nancy, you look like you're tired.
Why? My
You
eyes
look
closed?
tired. You look tired, Nancy. But I want to make sure everybody stays safe. Social distancing is very, very important. And I'll say the same thing that Jamie said. We'll see everybody next week.
Thank you. And I'll just briefly say, I'm very, very sad that we're not going to have a Memorial Day parade and a Memorial Day ceremony. I have written a little thing to go out on Memorial Day, and I do feel that we really need to try to follow the rules, stay safe. If we do, then maybe we can open up more quickly and stay open. Because if this disease starts spiking, they'll close everything down again. So it really behooves people to be careful and try to follow the rules. And I totally agree with Chuck. I have spent hours talking with so many people that own businesses down here. It's dreadful. What they're going through is dreadful. And whatever we can do to help them, I think we need to do it. Within the parameters of being safe. So don't forget that. So thank you everybody for sitting through this. Those of you that managed to sit through this whole meeting, thank you very much. And we'll tune in again next week. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second. Yep. Sorry, Jamie.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Bye.